Hi everyone, welcome to Devine Magic. Devine Magic is the 7 sacred secrets of manifestation, and this is a new interpretation revised by Doreen Virtue. So I'm going to read it for you now. How to manifest Devine Magic, the 7 sacred secrets of manifestation. Okay, revised by Doreen Virtue. Comes from the Hermetic Classic Alchemy Manual by the Kybalion. Okay? And Chapter 1, the brief history of the Kybalion. You have magical abilities that are inherent, inborn, and God-given. Since you were made in the image and likeness of the Creator, it makes sense that you have creative abilities and divine power. One of your life's purposes is to learn how to harness your gifts into loving and positive action. The Kybalion is a practical teaching manual for understanding and utilizing your divinely magical abilities. First published in 1908, it's a classic esoteric self-help book that has taught countless people, including myself, how to put Hermetic, a term derived from Hermes, the name of the philosophy's originator, principles into action. Because the Kybalion's language is now dated and sometimes cryptic, I was guided to edit the manuscript into modern language and add my comments. Okay, Hermetic. In ancient Egypt, a great spiritual teacher wrote books and lectured about the power of the mind to create and heal. His teachings were so profound and revolutionary, he was linked with Hermes, the Greek messenger deity, and Thoth, the Egyptian god of writing and mysticism. This teacher is most commonly called Hermes Trismegistus, pronounced Trismegistus, which means thrice great or 3 times great. No one knows for certain which 3 attributes this title refers to. While scholars can't agree on the dates of Hermes' life, it's believed that he was a contemporary and even a teacher of Abram the Patriarch. Others claim that Hermes lived during the time of Moses. There's also controversy over the authenticity of the emerald tablet or tablet Smaragdina, so often attributed to Hermes, contains the famous as above, so below. Perhaps because of the controversies, Hermes' teachings have always been shrouded in veils of secrecy and mystery. Hermetic philosophy was incorporated into mystical Jewish teachings and the Alexandrian branch of Gnosticism. During the Middle Ages, Hermetists studied in secret since it was dangerous to write or verbalize any spiritual principle other than the reigning religions. Today, it's not only safe to study and practice, one of the healthiest ways to live. The term Kybalion refers to the verbal teaching traditions of Hermetic principles, which were taught as axioms of paraphrases and explained and expounded upon to initiates by advanced Hermetists. These individuals held the axioms in their memory banks and taught them to each other verbally. They weren't in any written form until 1908, when 3 Hermetists decided to publish it along with their interpretations. So you get the Kybalion was authored by anonymous Hermetic teachers, the 3 initiates, as a guide to the principles they'd learned through verbal traditions. If you've read any, the Kybalion requires some study. It's been said that simply having the Kybalion nearby yields tremendous benefits. Even if you don't read it, its energy is pure magic. So you may want to keep this book on your nightstand to transfer its information into your unconscious while you sleep. May you enjoy the further awakening of your power of divine magic. Introduction to the Kybalion. The lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding. Old Egypt produced esoteric and occult teachings that have strongly influenced the philosophies of all races, nations, and people. Egypt, the home of the pyramids and the Sphinx, was the birthplace of hidden wisdom and mystical teachings. The great adept And masters dwelled in ancient Egypt. Among them was one hailed as the Master of Masters. This man, if he was a mortal, living during Egypt's earliest days. He was known as Hermes Trismegistus. He was the father of occult wisdom, the founder of astrology, and the discoverer of alchemy. The details of his life story are lost to history, although several ancient countries disputed the details of his birthplace. Hermetic teachings are found in all lands and among all religions, yet they're never identified with any particular country or religious sect. The ancient teachers warned against allowing the secret doctrine to become crystallized into a creed. The wisdom of this caution is apparent to all students of history. It's been passed down to master to student from lip to ear. The teachings were the basic principles of the art of Hermetic Alchemy, which dealt in the mastery of mental forces rather than material elements of alchemically changing one kind of metal into another. The legend of the philosopher's stone, which would turn base metal into gold, was a symbolic allegory relating to Hermetic philosophy. In this little book, we invite our students to examine the Hermetic teachings within the Kybalion along with our explanations. We are humble students of the teachings. In this book, we give you maxims, axioms, and precepts accompanied by explanations that we feel will be most practicable and comprehensible. Wherefore the footsteps of the Master, the ears of those ready for his teachings open wide. When the ears of the student are ready to hear, then cometh the lips to fill them with wisdom. When the pupil is ready to receive the truth, this little book will come to him or her. Such is the law, the Hermetic principle of cause and effect. It, in its aspect of the law of attraction, will bring these teachings to whoever is prepared to receive them. So mote it be. Chapter 1. The 7 Sacred Secrets of Manifestation. Hermetic sacred teachings are divided into 7 interconnected principles in the Kybalion. The principles are normally studied in chronological order as they build upon each other. Some of these principles may sound familiar because spiritual teachers have been studying and writing about them since Hermes introduced them centuries ago. So it may seem as if you're studying basic arithmetic after you've already mastered algebra. Studying these principles builds a solid foundation for your natural spiritual gifts. Although I am a lifelong student and practitioner of metaphysics, I discovered new wisdom, secrets, and ideas by studying the Kybalion. A deeper understanding of these principles helps you master your inborn manifestation abilities. For instance, you learn how to maintain your moods, thoughts, and vibrations at high levels. This in turn keeps your relationships, finances, health, and other experiences at these same levels. Here is an overview of the 7 sacred principles that Hermes gave us. The initial italicized sentences represent the Kybalion's axiom as a synopsis of each principle. The chapters that follow give expanded information on each principle, as well as practical ways to put them into everyday use. The 7 sacred principles. The first sacred principle is called mentalism. Summarizing this as the all is mind, the universe is mental. This principle explains that the entire universe, including yourself and your life, is composed of an all-encompassing divine mind, its thoughts and thought forms. The Kybalion refers to the Creator as the All. The All is mind, which means infinite and unerring intelligence, wisdom, and creativity. Since the All is everywhere, mind is everywhere. You live inside this omnipresent mind of the All. Your true mind, your higher self, is an extension and a creation of the divine mind. The second sacred principle is called correspondence. The Kybalion summarizes this principle with Hermes' famous phrase, as above, so below, as above, so above. The Hermetists divide the world into 3 planes: physical, mental, and spiritual. Each plane operates by the same spiritual laws. So if you understand the laws governing one plane, you'll understand how the other planes operate. By applying this understanding, you can elevate your consciousness and life to higher planes of existence. The third sacred principle is called vibration. The Kabbalion says, nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Everything in the universe moves, even so-called inanimate objects that are filled with vibrating atoms and the energy of the all. The difference between the varying planes of existence is merely in their vibrational rate of movement. Hermetists apply this principle by accelerating or decelerating the vibrational rate of objects or situations they wish to attract, change, or banish. The fourth sacred principle is called polarity. The Kabbalion summarizes it in this way: everything is dual, everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites, like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. The fourth principle explains that every experience and choice is the same in truth. What appears to be opposite is actually the same, but with different degrees of the same ingredients. Prosperity and poverty are not opposites, they are merely ends of the same pole, vibrating at different rates. Each situation in your life has such a pole with extremes at either end and vibrational increments in between. Hermetists use this principle to transmute unwanted situations and emotions into something more desirable merely by changing their vibration increments in between. Merely by changing the vibrational to the highest end of each pole. The fifth sacred principle is called rhythm. The Kabbalion explains this as everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. According to the fifth principle, the universe operates in precise and predictable rhythms. If you allow these rhythms to master you, then your moods and life will fluctuate up and down. However, by mastering the rhythms, you become immune to downward turns in emotions or life experiences. The sixth sacred principle is called cause and effect. Every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. This is a perfectly ordered universe, and nothing happens by chance or accident. There's always a cause behind every effect. Life mastery occurs when you become a conscious cause of the effects you desire, instead of being carried along by the wills or desires of others. You can use this principle to effect healings and manifestations. The seventh sacred principle is called gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. The seventh principle isn't referring to traditional male-female genders as in human bodies. It instead discusses masculine and feminine energies. Each person has both energies within them, since the entire universe is composed of both. These energies are equally powerful and interdependent upon each other to form creations. Female energy is magnetic and attracting. Male energy is electric and creating. Banishing, releasing, and attracting are the basis of divine magic. To manifest, you must either attract your desire to create it. To enjoy a steady flow of abundance, understand this work with the steady flow of giving and receiving, as this principle teaches. The principles of truth are 7. He who knows these understandingly possesses the magic key before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open. Chapter 2, Mental Alchemy. No matter what's going on in your life that you'd like to banish or release, what you'd like to attract or create, you can do so rapidly. One important aspect of divine magic involves the process of transmutation, which is the process of converting one element to another by irradiating or bombarding it with radioactive particles. 2. To change the form of such as from kinetic to potential energy, or to modify the structure of a molecule, crystal, or atom. 3. Changing a gross force into a finer one. 4. The changing of energy into matter or matter into energy. To the Hermetist, transmutation means to change from an undesirable appearance into a desirable appearance. Note the word appearance, as it signifies that everything you want to attract or release is merely an illusion. It's a collection of energy, the same as thought. Therefore, it's just as easy to release or attract something major as it is to heal or manifest something less significant. In the Middle Ages, the study of hermetics and alchemy were considered underground crazes. Those who studied hermetics were obsessed with turning base metals such as lead into precious metal like gold. Yet hermetists believe that mental alchemy is more valuable and important. Mental alchemy focuses upon attracting gold and golden opportunities through a process called transmutation. As the Kabbalion discusses, you can transmute any object or situation by changing or transmuting your thoughts. Mental alchemy makes more sense as you study and practice the 7 principles as outlined in the chapters that follow. Mind, as well as metals and elements, may be transmuted from state to state, degree to degree, condition to condition, pole to pole, vibration to vibration. True hermetic transmutation is a mental art, the Kabbalion. The Hermetists were the original alchemists, astrologers, and psychologists, and Hermes was the founder of these schools of thought. From astrology has grown modern astronomy. From alchemy has grown modern chemistry. From the mystic psychology has grown modern psychology. There's much evidence that the ancients knew about and practiced astronomy, chemistry, and psychology. They possessed the inner knowledge as well as the outer knowledge. While scientists usually only have the outer knowledge, transmutation was among the many secret branches of knowledge possessed by the Hermetists. Transmutation usually refers to the ancient art of transmuting metals, particularly base metals, into gold. The word transmute means to change from one nature, form, or substance into another. Mental transmutation means the art of changing and transforming mental states, forms, and conditions into others. So we call mental transmutation the art of mental chemistry or mental alchemy. The first of the 7 Hermetic principles is the principle of mentalism. The axiom, the all is mind, the universe is mental, means that the underlying reality of the universe is mind, and the universe itself is mental and existing in the mind of the all. If the universe is mental in nature, then mental transmutation must be the art of changing the conditions of the universe along the lines of matter, force, and mind. So mental transmutation is really the magic that ancient writers discussed in their mystical works, and about which they gave so few practical instructions. If everything is mental, then transmutation can not only change conditions ordinarily thought of as mental, but also material conditions. In this little book, we will outline the basic principles of mental transmutation to help you better grasp the underlying principles and possess the master key that unlocks the many doors of the principle of polarity. In the next chapter, we'll discuss the first Hermetic principle, the principle of mentalism, which explains the truth that the all is mind, the universe is mental. In the words of the Kybalion, we ask for your close attention and careful study of this great principle, for it's really the basic principle of the whole Hermetic philosophy and of the Hermetic art of mental transmutation. Chapter 3. Sacred principle number 1. The principle of mentalism. The universe and everything in is continuously growing, moving and changing. Nothing is permanent and enduring but change. The underlying power fueling this constant creation is called the All. It is all that is, and therefore infinite and eternal. The All is living mind consisting of an immortal life force and divine wisdom. This All is spirit. The All occupies every space in the universe and infinitely inhabits the unchangeable. The All is unchangeable. This paradox is reconciled through the Hermetic teaching that the universe is contained within the mind of the All. The container, the All, is unchangeable, but what's inside the universe is forever changing. In the same way, the contents of your mind are always changing. You can use this principle to change anything in your life, since you create your own universe with your mind. Just like the All creates universes with its mind, you can alter its contents by changing your mind about your desires. Some process for doing this are outlined in the chapters that follow. First, though, a Kybalion spends 4 chapters laying the foundation for its first principle, the principle of mentalism. It devotes only 1 chapter to each of the remaining 6 principles. That's because the first principle is so vital to understanding and applying the other principles and Hermetics in general. The concept of a mental universe was a very radical concept when this book was first published. Even today, it's a new idea to those unfamiliar with metaphysics. If you've already accepted the premise that everything in your life is thought forms, then you'll find this chapter and the 3 that follow to be quick reads. Nonetheless, I'd recommend staying present while reading each chapter, as there are some nuggets of wisdom that can help even the most seasoned metaphysician. These nuggets require careful study before they're apparent. Under and back of the universe of time, space, and change is ever to be found the substantial reality, the fundamental truth, the Kybalion. Nothing really is, but everything is becoming and changing. Nothing stands still because everything is being born, growing, and dying. The very instant a thing reaches its heights, it begins to decline. The principle of rhythm is in constant operation. There is no reality or substantiality in anything. Nothing is permanent but change. All things evolve from other things and resolve into other things as a constant inflow and outflow, creation and destruction. All of these changing things are outward appearances or manifestations of an underlying power that Hermetic masters call the All. The inner nature of the All is knowable. Only the All can comprehend its own nature and being. But while the essential nature of the All is unknowable, there are certain truths connected with its existence. That which is the fundamental truth. The substantial reality is beyond true naming, but wise men call it the All. In its essence, the All is unknowable, but the report of reason must be hospitably received and treated with respect. Human reason makes the following conclusions regarding the All without attempting to remove the veil of the unknowable. 1. The All must be all there really is. Nothing could exist outside of the All, or else the All would not be the All. The All must be infinite, for nothing could define, confine, bound, limit, or restrict the All. It must be infinite in time or eternal. The All must have always and continuously existed, for there is nothing else that could have created it. Something cannot evolve from nothing. If the all had ever not been, even for a moment, it would not be now. It must continuously exist forever, since nothing can destroy it. The all must be infinite in space everywhere, because there is no place outside of it. It must be continuous in space without break, cessation, separation, or interruption, since nothing could break, separate, or interrupt its continuity. It must be infinite in power or absolute, because nothing could limit, restrict, restrain, confine, disturb, or condition it. It is subject to no other power, because there is no other power. The all must be immutable and unchangeable, since there is no force outside of it to affect changes. It cannot be added to nor subtracted from, increased nor diminished, nor become greater or lesser. It must always have been and must always remain just what it is now, the all. Since the all is infinite, absolute, eternal, and unchangeable, by logic deduction we can reason that anything that is changeable cannot be the all. And since there is nothing outside of the all, then any and all such finite things must be nothing in reality. We will reconcile this apparent contradiction very soon. The all is not matter or mere energy, since nothing can rise higher than its source. What is higher than matter or energy that we know to exist in the universe? Life and mind in their varying degrees of unfoldment. The all is infinite living mind, a term far higher than mechanical forces of matter. The all is the infinite living mind, which we call spirit. Chapter 4, the mental universe. Now, if you don't want to watch this, you can listen to it, because if it's moving, I'm sorry about that, but I'm sitting in the car in the beauty of Untitled Valley where I live, the stunning nature, and I hope that this book helps you to manifest. Please subscribe, share, and like, by the way. Thank you. Really helps to pass on the information and to give something back. The mental universe. The Kabbalion thoroughly examines the nature of the universe using as above, so below. Deductive reasoning. We are taught that if you understand one plane of existence, you can understand all other planes. So, conclusions about the universe and the all come from applying earthly knowledge to these higher planes. They conclude that the above, the universe, expands and creates just like the below, matter, through mental images. To create your own universe with your mental images that you hold, a principle the Kabbalion has much to say and teach about in the following chapters. This chapter continues to set the foundation for the first Hermetic principle of mentalism. It's necessary to understand this principle before the other ones make sense. The universe is mental, held in the mind of the all, the Kabbalion. The all is spirit, but what is spirit? This question cannot be answered, because spirit is the all, which cannot be explained or defined. Spirit is simply a name given to the highest conception of infinite living mind. Spirit transcends our understanding, and we use the term as a way to think or speak of the all, while simultaneously acknowledging that we cannot fully understand it. We must either do this or stop thinking of the matter at all. Let's now consider the nature of the universe as a whole and in its parts. What is the universe? We have seen that there can be nothing outside of the all. Then, is the universe the all? No, this cannot be, because the universe is constantly changing and in other ways does not measure up to the all, as stated in our last lesson. At first, the human mind might deduce that if the universe isn't the all, it must be nothing. But this is not a satisfying answer, since we are aware of the universe's existence. Then, if the universe is neither the all nor nothing, what can it be? Let us examine this question. If the universe exists at all, or seems to exist, it must be the all's creation. But as something can never come from nothing, what substance did the all use to create the universe? Some philosophers believe the all created the universe from itself. But the all cannot subtract or divide itself to become an atom or earthly being. Other philosophers have jumped to the conclusion that they and the all are identical. They shout, "I am God." This is similar to a vein declaring that it is the entire human body. But what is the universe? If it's not the all separated into fragments, what else can it be? And what can it be made of? The second principle, the principle of correspondence, and the old Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, help us glimpse the workings on higher planes by examining those on our own. On the material earthly plane, humans create by using outside materials. But this analogy doesn't answer our question, since there are no materials outside of the all to be used in creating the universe. Humans also procreate their children with a portion of their own selves. But this scenario is also counter to our knowledge that the all can transfer or subtract a portion of itself, nor can anything add to or multiply the all. So, is there a third way that humans create? Yes, they create mentally. Mental creations are not outside materials and don't involve reproducing or fragmenting itself, and yet each human spirit pervades the mental creations. Following the principle of correspondence, as above so below, we can deduce that the all creates the universe mentally in the same manner humans create mental images. Such was the teachings of Hermetics. The all can create in no other way except mentally, without either using materia, and there's nothing outside of itself to use, or reproducing itself, since 1 times 1 equals 1. Just as you may create a universe of your own in your mind, so does the all create universe in its own mentality. Your universe is the mental creation of a finite mind, whereas that of the all is the creation of infinite. The two are similar, but infinitely different in degree. We shall examine more closely the process of creation and manifestation as we proceed. But this is the point to fix in your mind at this stage. The universe and all it contains is a mental creation of the all. The all creates in its infinite mind countless universes which exist for eons of time, and yet to the all, the creation, development, decline and death of 1,000,000 universes is at the time of the twinkling of an eye. The infinite mind of the all is the womb of the universe. The all and the principle of the gender. The seventh Hermetic principle, the principle of gender, which states that everything in the universe is composed of male and female energies, is manifested in all planes of life, material, mental, and spiritual. Whenever anything is generated or created in any plane of existence, the principle of gender must be involved. This is true even in the creation of the universe. The all itself is beyond gender, as it is beyond every other law, including those of time and space. The all is a law from which all laws proceed. It is not subject to them. But when the all manifests on the lower planes, it acts according to law and principle. Consequently, it manifests the principle of gender in its masculine and feminine aspects on the mental plane. The all itself does not have duality and therefore gender. The all is one, and the masculine and feminine principles are manifested by the all. The masculine principle is manifested when the all projects its all toward the feminine principle, which may be called nature. Nature then begins the actual work of evolving the universe, including humans and the higher planes. If you prefer the old figures of thought, you may think of the masculine principle as God the Father and the feminine as nature, the universal mother from whose womb all things have been born. This isn't just a poetic figure of speech. It describes actual process of the universal creation. The all is one, and the universe, including the masculine and feminine principles, is generated, created, and exists within the infinite mind. It may be helpful in your understanding to apply the principle of correspondence to yourself and your own mind. The part of you which you call I stands apart and witnesses the creation of mental images in your own mind. The part of your mind that creates mental images be called the me, in contrast to the I, which stands apart and witnesses and examines the thoughts, ideas, and images of the me. The I is your inner masculine principle, and the me is your feminine principle. Each person carries both genders within themselves. Like a child, we naturally feel reverence for the all at our father and mother mind. The feelings you have of love and nurturing from religion, spirituality, and nature are like a child's affection for its parents. The earth is one small aspect of the universe, which also includes millions of other worlds. There are also millions of other universes in existence without the infinite mind. There are beings with powers and attributes higher than humans have ever dreamed of, and yet these beings were once as you or even on lower planes. They will continue to grow even higher in time, for this is the destiny of all souls. Death is not real. Even in the relative sense, it is merely birth into a new life. You shall go on to higher planes of life for eons of time. The universe is your home, and you shall explore its farthest recesses before the end of time. You are dwelling in the infinite mind of the all, and your possibilities and opportunities are infinite, both in time and space, and at the end of the grand cycle of eons, when the all draws all of its creations back into itself, you will go gladly, because by so doing you will truly experience oneness with the all. And in the meantime, rest calm and serene. You are safe and protected by the infinite power of Father-Mother mind. Within the Father-Mother mind, mortal children are at home. There is not one who is fatherless nor motherless in the universe. Isn't that beautiful? The Kabbalion. Chapter 5. The Divine Paradox. This chapter discusses the paradox that matter is illusory and real. Simultaneously, the trick is to enjoy the material world without losing yourself in its illusions. The Kabbalion says the divine paradox is that while the universe is not, still it is. There's a difference between absolute truth and relative truth. Only the Creator knows the absolute truth of the universe. Relative truth is a human understanding that matter exists because when we can touch, smell, see, hear, and taste it. Relative truth is based upon our human experiences without the whole knowledge of absolute truth behind it. We experience material objects as being solid. However, electronic microscopes show that seemingly solid objects are really composed of vibrating atoms which are contained within and fueled by the all. Teachings, it's a mistake to go through life as if everything is an illusion. They call this practice sleepwalking through life. Ignoring or denying matter doesn't help us live effectively. While we live in human bodies on earth, it's important to acknowledge that matter is real to us, and yet we can change our relationship with matter by elevating our thoughts about it. This is how we practice divine magic to heal bodies, attract prosperity, and complete important projects. We can gain control over our material existence by acknowledging matter within the illusion, and then by applying the higher forces of transmutation and mental creation. The half-wise, recognizing the comparative unreality of the universe, imagine they may defy its laws. Such are vain and presumption fools, and they are broken against the rocks and torn asunder by the elements by reason of their folly. The truly wise, knowing the nature of the universe, use law against laws, the higher against the lower, and by the art of alchemy transmute that which is undesirable into that which is worthy, and thus triumph. Mastery consists not in abnormal dreams, visions, and fantastic imaginings or livings, but in using this higher forces against the lower, escaping the pains of the lower planes by vibrating on the higher. Transmutation, not presumptuous denial, is the weapon of the master, the Kabbalion. The above axiom describes the paradox of the universe, resulting from the principle of polarity that manifests when the all begins to create. The infinite all sees the universe and everything within it as a dream within a state of meditation. Yet to our finite awareness, the universe must be treated as real and lived with an understanding of the higher truth. If humans act and live as if the universe is only a dream, then they're like sleepwalkers, stumbling through life and making no progress. They're forced awake when the natural laws which they try to ignore bruise them. Keep your mind ever on the star, but let your eyes watch over your footsteps to avoid falling should your focus be too far upward. The fact is that you are on earth now, and you must deal with its nature and laws. You can, however, enjoy your life if you work with the mental laws which are higher than the material laws. The law of paradox is an aspect of the principle of polarity, which is constantly encouraging students to consider the other side of any question. We encourage you to study and grasp the divine paradox of the absolute and relative, to avoid entanglement in the mire of the half-truth. You may instinctually protest the idea that the universe is a mental creation of the all, and therefore an illusion. So consider both the absolute and relative points of view. Absolute truth is defined as things as the mind of God knows them. The absolute truth is that the forever changing universe is an illusion when it's compared to the forever unchangeable. Anything that has a beginning and an ending must be in a sense unreal and untrue, and the universe comes under this category. From the absolute point of view, there is nothing real except the all. Now let's consider relative truth, which is defined as things as the highest reasoning of humans can understand. So while the universe is unreal and illusionary to the finite minds viewing it through mortal senses, the universe is very real. We must consider the experience of the human senses because we are human. We are not the all. If you kick a rock, it doesn't matter that science has proven the rock isn't solid. Your foot feels the impact with the rock. Of course, your foot is matter just like the rock and brain. If you were to dream about the rock, your mental image of it would seem very real because we live within the illusionary universe. It seems very real to us. To know it otherwise, we must be the all itself. Only when the all finally withdraws us into itself will the illusion actually vanish. So there's no point in dwelling upon the topic of illusion. Instead, let's direct our attention to the real nature of the universe. Let's aspire to understand its mental laws and use them to progress through life. The mental laws are ironclad within the universe's mental nature. Everyone, except for the all, is bound by them. As long as we live on the material earth plane, matter is real to us. Matter isn't less real to us just because we understand the scientific truth about atoms, about the mental nature of the universe. We can control matter by applying higher forces. This is better than pretending that matter doesn't exist. The laws of nature are constant. We cannot escape them. We can, however, overcome the laws by applying higher ones. The universe and its laws and the phenomena are real, so far as humans are concerned. The universe is also ever-changing and transitionary, so it's unreal in the absolute sense. However, we must live and act as if the fleeting universe and matter were real. In the material world, mentalism, the power of your thought, is the greatest natural force. Remember the Kabbalions' wise words? Mastery consists not in abnormal dreams, visions, and fantastic imaginings or living, but in lower planes by vibrating on the higher. Remember always, students, that transmutation, not presumption's denial, is the weapon of the master. We do not live in a world of dreams, but in a universe which is real as far as our lives and actions are concerned. Our business in the universe is not to deny its existence, but to live using the law to rise from lower to higher. and doing the best that we can under the circumstances arising each day. There's nothing to fear, as we're all held firmly in the infinite mind of the All. There's no power outside of the All to affect us, so we can rest calm and secure. Right, Chapter 6, the All in All. After examining the paradoxical universe, the Kabbalion studies the Creator using the same Hermetic as above, so below deductive reasoning. When an author creates a character, such as Shakespeare's Romeo, part of the author is in the character in the same way part of the creator is in each of us. Yet, just as Romeo isn't entirely Shakespeare, neither are we entirely the creator. We retain some part of us that's not identical with our creator. This is another divine paradox. We're simultaneously made in the image and not in the image of made in the image and not in the image of the creator. We would call the part of us that isn't creator like the ego of our shadow side. While all is in the all, it is equally true that all is in all. To him who truly understands this truth had come great knowledge. We have given you the Hermetic teachings regarding the mental nature of the universe. The truth that the universe is mental, held in the mind of the All. Now let's examine the above quote from the Kabbalion. All is in the All. It is equally true that the All is in all. This apparently contradictory statement is reconcilable under the law of paradox even more. It's an exact Hermetic statement of the relationship between the All and its mental universe. The All is omnipresent throughout every particle of the universe. It's much like a character in a novel. While reading the novel, the character seems to have a life force of its own. Yet the character also carries the essence of the author. In fact, the character's entire life and reality comes from the mental images of the author. The characters Othello and Hamlet existed merely in the mind of Shakespeare at the time of their conception and creation. And yet Shakespeare also existed within each of his characters, giving them their vitality, spirit, and action. Whose is the spirit of these characters? Is it Shakespeare? Or do these characters have a personal spirit independent of the creator? Do they have reality on their own? Or do they represent the spiritual and mental power of their author? The law of paradox says that both propositions are true. Hamlet is both Hamlet and also Shakespeare, and yet Shakespeare is not identical with Hamlet. Hamlet may explain the spirit of my creator is within me, and yet I am not he. This truth gives sharp contrast to the often heard cries of, I am God, which would be identical to Hamlet shouting, I am Shakespeare. The all is in the earthworm, yet the earthworm is far from being the all. And though the earthworm appears as a lowly being, it was created within the mind of the all. So, the all is immanent in the earthworm and all the particles of its makeup. Even these illustrations are inadequate. Since they are creations of a finite mind while the universe is a creation of infinite mind, the difference between the two poles separates them, yet it merely is a matter of degree, as the principle of correspondence reminds us. As above, so below. As above, so below. So below, as below, so above. So the degree that you realize the existence of spirit within your being, so will you rise in the spiritual scale of life. This is what spiritual development means. There are many planes of existence in the universe, with the lowest being dense matter and the upper being the spirit of the all. Everything is moving upwards along this scale of life. All progress is a return to home. The all creates by projecting its will with the intention of becoming. This projection of the all's will then slows its vibration so that matter is created. This process is called involution, in which the all becomes involved or wrapped up with its creation. This is analogous to artists who forget their own existence while creating. The artists temporarily live within and through their creations and therefore transfer their life force to their artwork. As you read in the chapter about the principle of polarity, everything in the universe has a pole with two extremes of low and high energy at either end and degrees of energy in between. The involuntary stage of creation is sometimes called the outpouring of divine energy. The extreme pole of the creative process is the furthest from the all. The other extreme, called the evolutionary state, known as indrawing, is the idea of coming home. The involuntary stage of creation is sometimes called the outpouring of divine energy, just as the evolutionary state is called the indrawing of divine energy. The involuntary stage is the extreme pole of the creative process. It's considered to be furthest removed from the all, while the beginning of the evolutionary stage is the closest. As you read in the chapter about the principle of rhythm, everything in the universe swings pendulum-like along the poles described in the principle of polarity. During the all's outpouring of divine energy, the vibrations become subsequently lower until finally the momentum ceases. This is the beginning of the return pendulum swing to the evolutionary end of the creative pole. During the outpouring stage, the all creative forces manifest as a compact whole. Then during the evolutionary or indrawing stage, the creations become individualized. As the pendulum swings upward towards the highest vibrations, the all upon the pole of creation, the individual return to source. The ancient Hermetists used the word meditation to describe the process of mental creation of the universe in the mind of the all. They also use the phrase divine attention to describe the all's creative process, as the word attention comes from a Latin word meaning reaching out or extending. So divine attention means an extension of the all's mental energy. Evolution is used to refer to the ascension or spiritual growth process. Evolution occurred first when the all meditated upon the beginning of the creation and established the material foundations of the universe by thinking it into existence. After this, the all gradually awakened from its meditation like a sleeping man slowly moving from a reclining to a standing position. The universe responded to the all's awakening by moving to higher energy vibrations. Eventually, the spirit of each soul is infinitely expanded, and the creator and the created are merged. Creation and evolution takes eons of earthly time, with each eon consisting of millions of years. Yet the universe's entire cycle of involution and evolution happened in the blink of an eye from the all's perspective. This illustration of the meditation and subsequent awakening from meditation of the all is only an attempt of the teachers to describe the infinite process by a finite example, and yet, as below, so above. The difference is merely in degree. And just as the all arouses itself from the meditation plane, upon the universe, so the all arouses itself from the meditation upon the universe, so the humans cease from manifesting upon the material plane and withdraw themselves more into their indwelling spirit. You may wonder why the all creates universes. This question has been asked and pondered for ages. Some have imagined that the all had something to gain by it, but this is absurd. For what could the all gain that it did not already possess? Others have proposed the all wished something to love. Some believe it's created for pleasure or amusement because it was lonely, or to manifest its power. Another theory is that the all was compelled to create by reason of its own internal nature and creative instinct. Yet the idea of the all being compelled implies a force outside of itself, which is impossible. A theory also implies a creative instinct would be the absolute, instead of the all, which is also impossible. Yet the all does create and manifest. The all's nature also seems to correspond to humanity's creative instincts according to the principle of correspondence. The all could not act unless it's willing to act, and it would not will to act unless it's desired to act, and it would not desire to act unless it's obtained some satisfaction from it. We still prefer to think that the all acted entirely free of any external or internal influences. There cannot be a reason for the all to act, for a reason implies that there's a cause. The all is above the principle of cause and effect, which is the law of the universe and not of the all. The only exception is when the all wills to become a cause, which sets the principle into motion. Since the all is unknowable, we are content to say that the all simply is. From this we conclude that the all acts because it acts. The all is complete reason in itself and also all law action in itself. In other words, the all is its own reason, law, and action. Even further, the all is one with reason, law, and action. We believe that the answer to the question, why does the all create universes, is locked up in the inner self of the all, along with its secret of being. The principle of correspondence reaches only to the all's aspect of becoming. Behind that is the all's nature of being, in which all principles and laws are merged into oneness. Therefore, metaphysical speculating on this point is futile. We recognize the question, however, ordinary answers fade under logical examination. Legend says that when Hermes was asked the same question by advanced students, he answered them by pressing his lips together without uttering a word. This indicated there was no answer. He may have also been conveying the Hermetic axiom, the lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding. Believing that even as advanced students did not possess the necessary understanding at any rate, if Hermes possessed the secret, he didn't impart it. As far as the world is concerned, the lips of Hermes are still closed at this point. And if Hermes hesitated to answer the question, will we suppose anyone else would know the answer? If the question is at all answerable, the Hermetic truth applies. While all is in the all, it is equally true that the all is in all. To him who truly understands this truth had come great knowledge. Chapter 7. Sacred Principle number 2. The Principle of Correspondence. After laying the foundation with a thorough examination of the nature of the mental universe and the all, the Kabbalion now picks up speed. Up to this point, the Kabbalions present a fascinating philosophical discussion without giving practical advice or application. With this and subsequent chapters, especially the fourth principle of polarity, you learn some ways to apply these Hermetic knowledge to improve your daily life. The principle of correspondence refers to the three levels of existence: physical, mental, and spiritual. Each plane vibrates at different rates. These vibrational differences are the only distinguishing factors between planes. Otherwise, all these planes are aspects of the all. The higher spiritual planes vibrate the fastest, and the lower vibration planes vibrate the slowest, which is why matter appears dense and solid. The material plane is divided into subcategories of material, ethereal substance, and energy, with the latter having the fastest vibrations. Similarly, the mental plane is subdivided into from lower to higher vibrations: the mineral, plant, elemental, animal, and human mind. The mineral mind is the thought force within the mineral kingdom. The plant mind is the intelligence within plants, and so forth. The spiritual plane also has its subcategories of angels, archangels, and deities. As above, so below applies to the three planes and their subcategories. The Kabbalion says there is a correspondence, harmony, and agreement between the several planes. The principle of correspondence, as well as the remaining principles of vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender, manifest and operate upon each plane. As above, so below; as below, so above. The second Hermetic principle describes the harmony, agreement, and correspondence between the planes of manifestation, life, and being. Everything in the universe comes from the same source, so regardless of which plane something exists upon, it's subject to the same laws, principles, and characteristics as everything else. Hermetic philosophy holds that the universe is divided into three great classes of phenomena, the three great planes: the physical plane, the mental plane, and the great spiritual plane. These divisions are artificial and arbitrary because the three planes are ascending degrees of the scale of life, from the lowest point of matter to the highest point of spirit. The different planes shade into each other without hard distinctions between the higher phenomenon of the physical and the lower of the mental. For example, in short, the three great planes are groupings of degrees of life's manifestations. The planes are neither places nor dimensions of space, yet they are more than states or conditions. The planes don't have the ordinary dimensions of length, depth, and breadth, but they do have a fourth dimension of vibration. The universe is in constant motion at different vibrational rhythms, speeds, rates, and directions. So the only variable separating one plane from another is its vibration. The higher the vibrational rate, the higher the plane. Other than the vibrational differences, all of the planes are fundamentally the same as creations of the all-existing within the infinite mind. Each of the 3 great planes are subdivided into 7 minor planes, which are also subdivided into 7 subplanes. All these divisions are arbitrary since they blend into each other. The divisions are mostly for convenience of study and thought. And that's the end of part 1, which I shall put on now. And next we will move on to the physical plane. So I hope you're enjoying the book, and thank you.